Yeah, just to answer that question in terms of localizing in the Philippines, well, uh, first of all, I am Filipino as well, British from my father's side, but basically the way that we're integrating this stuff is by integrating like a lot of concepts with the art pieces, because there's a lot of fan art as well. We have a dedicated section for that who are Pokemon-esque fans. And then number two, when we designed the program, which I'll announce right now, there's different themes for different days. So Friday, we are theming it more on the collectors. So people who are collecting, the old cards, just like you can see in this table, plushies, and not just like the physical ones, but digital ones too. So if you want to complete your Pokedex, or maybe if you're playing Pokemon Go, that's sort of like the day where you can just trade, collect, and have that nostalgia factor. So that's the Friday theme. Saturday will be focused more on competition, so more focused, let's say, on like tournaments. So we have different tournament aspects from the TCG or the trading card side. We have the video game side, cosplay side. So we're planning that. And then for the Sunday, it's more family themed. So different themes for different days. Although if you could go in any of the days, we will still have different, let's say, side events. And the way we design the map is instead of having, let's say, Pokeverse as just one big hall and a bunch of different areas, what we've designed it to is it'll have its own towns and cities. So within those towns and cities, you have your own, let's say, themed activities or planned activities within those areas. So for example, one area we have is called Kirck Allen. Kirck Allen is based off of the Artist of Gold. And then within that area, you have local fan-made Pokemon-themed creations, but then also an activity area for people who want to learn how to create their own, art pieces, illustrations with a theme of Pokemon. And then on top of that, we have Victory Road. For the OGs out there who play the old video games, Victory Road is like the final place once you complete your journey and then you want to become the very best. So we partner with the two biggest hobby shops in the country, Hobby Stadium and Arkin. We'll be sponsoring the TCG side and the VGC side. So if anyone's in the competitive nature, Saturday is probably the best day for you. And then Sunday, since we partnered as well with Make-A-Wish Foundation, we also want to showcase that we're giving back, not just as a community, but also as a culture. Because in the Filipino culture, we like giving back. So it's not just events that are just about, just either competing or making money. It's about really giving back to your local community, giving back to the people who have not opportunities for it. But the most important thing here is about quality. We wanted to raise the bar when it comes to the event, not just to have that feeling of, the nature where, somebody asked me this question on, what are we selling with Pokeverse, or what is Pokeverse really about? To be honest, it's not totally just about Pokemon. It's really about having a weekend to act like a kid again. We are all working. We're working adults. We have our own jobs. We have our own stories, our own journeys, just like in Pokemon. But what we aim for the event is to have that experience. That, oh my gosh, I saw this card. I grew up with it, and that nostalgia effect. I remember when I couldn't afford this growing up. So really, the weekend is about, what if you have a ticket to go back in time to act like a kid, but at the same time, if you have a family and you have a kid, you can be a kid with your kid. So that's really the aspect that we're looking at for the event: safe, quality, and of course, with Veronica and Jason, maybe historic.
Hi, Kirk. I'm Tony from Philippines. So you were talking about bringing the experience, right? And you were saying a lot of things about the themes of per day. just trying to figure out or trying to visualize what the event would look like, so that we can give our audiences a little bit of a preview now. I'd like to ask, like, are we bringing in like this experiential type of event that we bring the Pokemon world to those halls? Are we expecting like unique installations, or because we were saying something about wanting to be a kid again, experiencing the Pokeverse basically. So
Actually, I just give me 1 second. I'm just gonna pull up just an idea of the map. 1 second. Where was it?
Can I just say also, thank you so much guys for coming. I'm Marites Allen. While Kirk is setting up the fun, I was just telling him to give you the floor plan. So I would like to say thank you always for coming to my events and for extending help with the Pokeverse. Some good friends are here from media. Thank you. So while Kirk is setting it up, when I was just telling Ed, when he asked me to mommy please support my Pokeverse event, and I said I have no clue what is Pokemon in Feng Shui coloration, right? So he said, so he presented to me a deck. Said, Mommy, do you realize that Pokemon is actually Feng Shui? I said, really? How? How so? Said, in the first place, the 12 animal signs, Pikachu is actually the rat, right? And you also have the horse, you also have the dragons. I mean, I'm sure all of you are, she said there's like over 1,000 Pokemon images, is that right? Meron ba? 1,000, no? So, and then he presented to me this deck, putting together the rat and the Pikachu, and then we also have the horse, and we have the Dragonite, etc., etc. In fact, the recent Chinese New Year in Malaysia, last February was using the Dragonite's Pokemon theme. I don't know if you have seen it. So anyways, and then he presented to me as well the idea that, in 1996, he showed me a photo that they were having the first Pokemon toys. And now he said it is actually like a very romantic event for us. So here we are, after a few months of deliberation, bringing in the Pokeverse event. Of course, this time with Jason and Veronica. So bring it as our gift to the public so that they can bring their family and friends for this momentous event. And of course, thank you to Happy Stadium for supporting this event as well. So are you ready, Kirk?
Yeah.
You have the colored version.
Actually, because this is the official one.
Yeah, maybe just put the colored version together. And so he presented this to me, and again, I didn't have an idea, this, whatever, Pokemon, different series and everything, and I said,
Where is it?
I think it's in the lower part.
No, it's the main line.
Yeah,
Applications.
something like that. Yeah. Okay, so he presented to me a deck, something like that, but again, maybe you guys, I'm sure you know better than I do.
Kasi Happy Stadium, game related, si Arcade.
Yeah.
Arcade.
See my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So when we designed the map the first time, because I'm also a huge Pokemon fan, I was an OG from the very beginning, Pokemon Red, Pokemon Yellow, all those things. When we were a kid, my mom and my dad basically bought us a Game Boy, and we had to share that Game Boy between the three of us. So, like the first thing that I really loved about the Pokemon world, especially those people, is they have that journey, that map. So I'm gonna walk you through first on how would you expect for the journey, the way we designed it the first time. So the entrance would be in Hall 1. Once you enter Hall 1, you have different experiences straight away. The first thing that you probably notice here is the museum. We have a museum here. We partnered up with the biggest collectors in the country. Probably the collection would go almost up to 1 million or more. So it's very, very valuable, and I'm very thankful for the biggest collectors to just showcase display their collections for the very first time. So a lot of those collections are probably never seen by the public. A lot of them are in the cabinet or in a closet or in a room somewhere. But because of this event, it gives them the opportunity to showcase it. And when you enter here the very first time, you'll see a lot of different things. So I myself am collecting the very first 151 collection. A very good example is something like the Charizard here. I got like 888 PSAs that I managed to find locally here in the Philippines. And then we have friends who are specialists as well when it comes to, let's say, collecting the Game Boys, the Nintendo Switches, the Pokedexes, the Pokeballs. So you'll see this museum, the first time you'll see there is collectibles official license that are extremely valuable, and it'll hit that nostalgia factor. Once you go past that, we have a dedicated area called the starter wall. You can take pictures with your favorite starter. As growing up in Pokemon, you pick your starter, right? Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander, and we also have a Pikachu wall dedicated as well for the Pikachu lovers. So then at least you have a place to take a photo next to your favorite starter, just like in the games, right? Once you enter this place, you can see that there's different colored areas and zones. We have an area called Maritime City, Demeter Town, Gaia Garden, Klimt Alley, and we have the Asadaya Town. So we have 5 different zones. We had the intention to potentially have different experiences, but the way we themed it is basically for Maritime City, it's like anything to do with collectible items, anything to do with, let's say, anything that you could probably find in a city. So that's really the theme of Maritime. So you'll have your plushies, you'll have, I guess, t-shirts, you'll have a couple of different things. So that's where you can go shopping. We also have a dedicated play zone area here, as well as a trader's bay. So if there are people who want to sell their old Pokemon cards, Pokemon collectibles, we have a trader's bay, so you can sell and trade. And then a gaming area for here. Demeter Town is based off, I believe, the god of food. And then you have your food area here. We have some booth areas that have Pokemon themed food, similar to what you probably see in Japan. As well as a Gaia Garden. This is more of a grassy terrain. We have different experiences here, from the Caster Lounge. Of course, we dedicate a media bay for the media as well. Sometimes you need a place to sit down. And Champions Peak is like an elevated platform where I guess whatever happens on there would be like the semifinals, finals for the competitions, and whatever is happening in Champions Peak will be showcased on the Pika stage. So there's a Pikachu themed stage that we have, the electric stage within this area. A Klimt Alley, as I mentioned before, is more themed to fan-made. A dedicated area for activities. We have people teaching how to do certain art styles. We have people, partners that are doing, let's say Pokemon themed macaroons or cakes. So you have different experience within this activity area, as well as a fan art gallery and a community wall. So I know that in the fans here, they love being part of the art pieces, so we dedicated a whole wall where you can just doodle whatever you like in the back wall here. Asadaya is more for, like, I guess, for the influencers who want to take their photos, do their vlogs at the end of it. And the final area here is, once you do your journey, is you have your fan area here. So this is a meet and greet area for Veronica and Jason. It's right next to the stage and stuff like that. Now, after you can go through all that journey, we have a dedicated area here, which we call as the Pokeverse League. And then the Pokeverse League, we have Arcan and Hobby Stadium, the 2 biggest hobby shops. Think of them as like Ateneo and LaSalle. So it's going to be a very, very interesting combination. Hobby Stadium will be sponsoring the TCG side. So any Pokemon TCG fans, we're going to have a TCG Battle Day. And then for the VGC, or the video game side, we have Arcan to sponsor that part. we also have, for the people who are not competitive, you just want to learn how to play. So that's the point of the play zone. The play zone area will have maybe dedicated tables and chairs. We're still also finishing up some partnerships. Maybe you can have the nice little crane thing that you can pick up some Pokemon on a plushie or maybe a gacha machine. So that's sort of like the idea. So instead of like most conventions, as you may know, they're just filled with cosplayers and just a lot of different booths. We try to focus mostly on the experiences for people to be there. Like there should be enough space for you to take photos, and especially the most important thing is because you have families, you have kids that normally run around, they want to have enough space to experience things. So yeah, like think of it as again a Pokemon universe. That's why we call it the Pokeverse. in themed towards that IP and the love for the brand, and that's why we call it the fan for fan made. We are partnering with people who have partnered with Pokemon, just like Miniso, Serenity, a few other brands that are coming in as well. So this is just again an overview of what to expect for the map. This will not be the final form because we're just finalizing everything this week. And then once everything is out, I think what we plan to do is just imagine like a map, and that map is closed up, and it looks like a Pokédex. So your Pokédex, you open that map and know like that. Oh wait, this is the map. So that's sort of the that answers the question. If you have any more, I guess.
Hi, Kirk. Dr. Shagit from Adult Life. I'd just like to ask us, will there also be a possibility of, let's say, Pokemon mascots roaming around? Because the people also like to see moving Pikachu's or Eevees around the area. Or if you have at least probably some the statues along, aside from the museum.
Yeah, so just like you, I've been pushing for this for a very long time. We do love the mascots. We have reached out to TPC about these things, but the thing is, for the time being, because it is again non-official Pokemon themed event, the best that we can do at the moment is to showcase, I guess, the plushies, the toys, the experiences. We are looking to partner with a certain puppet theater group, so we'll announce that once it's properly ready. But yeah, just expect that really the event really it's not just again not focused just on the characters. It's really focused on the experiences. Some people like to play cards. Some people like to collect the toys. Some people want to eat the food. Some people want to cosplay. So everybody has their own sort of unique aspect. But there will be Pokemon inspired activities as well as something similar to that. But I guess you'll wait to find out in the event.
Hey Kirk, this is Alson from Day Geeks. One of my questions will focus on the TCG part.
Yeah.
When will do we have a list of the events that we could expect, especially for the TCG specific events for Pokeverse?
Yeah, so in terms of TCG wise, as I mentioned before, we're looking Saturday as the theme competitive one. We'll roll out like a more formal activities. We just have to make sure that the schedules align, because we have people asking us questions like, what if I'm lining up and I'm a player for the TCG tournament? What if I get stuck?
Yeah. So
it sucks that I'm waiting online. So we're just fixing up the logistics of that. But what you expect would be two things. Number one, a TCG themed tournament for sure, most likely on the Saturday. Top 16 on the Sunday, and then for the side events, we are going to be introducing, actually we're testing it out hopefully next week, a Pokemon TCG raid battle. That's not been sort of popularized here in the Philippines, but very popular in the Pokemon Worlds tournaments. So we'll showcase that as well as the build and battle. Because the number one thing for, especially when it comes to Pokemon, it's really about getting people to learn. It's not just about the people who are already part of the community. What we're trying to aim really is the people to bring them back. Because like a lot of us, just like myself, a few months ago I was just a collector, now I'm a player. I didn't know that there was an actual game. So it's one of those things that through the community, I'm thankful, especially to Hobby Stadium, Arkin, to really to got me in this to get me in this journey for especially TCG side. Um, but yeah, expect different events for competitiveness and also for learn to play session and more, I guess, side events. So that's sort of the three things I would say.
Question?
Hi, Kirk, Rain Check. This is the first, I believe this is the first time happening here in the Philippines, Pokeverse.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be the first time. A very similar event to this, just to explain, is the Pokemon Worlds Tournament. So if you guys are aware, you've probably seen them in the malls or like in some of the places that every other quarter there's like a new Pokemon tournament somewhere, whether it's cards, video games, Pokemon Unite, and mobile, and other things. So when you become, I guess, one of the top players, you get sent to an area or a nominated country for what you call the Worlds. Worlds is like the World Cup for Pokemon. Within the World Cup for Pokemon, you have the Pokemon themed activities plus the competitions for the best of the best. So what we're planning to do is we combine the aspects of the conventions, the aspects of, let's say, a business expo, and then the aspects of the Pokemon Worlds. All those things together mixed up in a cocktail that's a little bit different. So that's why it's half, like a portion is the cosplay con that you'll feel. A portion of that will be the Pokemon Worlds experience that you would normally, to get that experience, you have to go abroad. So the next one I think is Hawaii, for example. So for us Filipinos so most of us probably don't fly. You'd have, the only way you can get to it is either watch via YouTube to get that experience. And the expo part again is more like us giving back to the community leaders and the people who have been part of this industry for a long time. They never really get recognized as well. They've been holding the community, growing it, but we want to recognize the people who are Filipinos that are working and recognized with TPC. But yeah, that's really it. It's like a cocktail of it's a different experience that we want to showcase here. It's the first and a little bit different.
So this is a unique event for Pokemon, for the Pokemon community. Have you connected with the local Pokemon community for this event?
We have tapped into the Pokemon communities here. A lot of people, I guess, are still, let's say, iffy because we never really had this event. It's too good to be true. So I guess as it gets closer to the event, once I guess Veronica and Jason comes in to the country for the very first time, I think it'll wake a lot of people up that your childhood heroes are in the country. So if you really want to believe, like once they land, they never come here, and that's really for me. I managed to experience that, as I mentioned before to most of you. This Pikachu here, for example, was the reason why this Pokeverse really started. Because 2 years ago, I went to New York City, and I managed to go to New York Comic Con, and through that, I met Alfred Kahn, the former CEO of 4Kids Entertainment. And then, I was super nervous because I only got to understand who he was. Like the CEO, or the man who basically got the license from Japan, brought it to the US, and spread it around the world. Basically, he's the Pokemon godfather. The man who basically, brought it to the English in masses. So to have him sign this Pikachu, as you can see in the back here in the tag, it's valuable to me because that's how it started. And then from that CEO, obviously, that's how we have Jason, Veronica, Rachel Lillis, Eric Stewart, the voice of Brock, Misty, and of course, not just that, for 4Kids Entertainment as well, brought us Yu-Gi-Oh! They brought us Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and a few other some of the top brands in the world because of that. So really, it's more like, what if we can bring that aspect to the Philippines? And if you're curious, then come. Every fan and every fan that used to be a fan is welcome for the event. So that's all I have to say.
Last question: do you plan to make this a regular event here in the Philippines? And are communities outside the Philippines welcome to join?
Of course, and also I believe that if this model works and this event model or the way that we're doing it would work, I believe it's not just a yearly thing that we're looking at. You know, there's a good chance that a lot of countries who have the similar outcomes, like like they had Veronica, Jason as the English voice actors and the rest in different parts of Asia also. So there's a potential that what if we can do a potential Pokeverse Asia or more. But again, for now, we want to start with the quality. We want to start with the nostalgia. And yeah, we invite anyone who's interested to just catch your tickets now at pokeverse.ph. You know, meet the very best like no one ever was. And on top, of course, this is a weekend to buy back that childhood. And we've all had we've all had our time to relive that. So hopefully there are events we can show you that there is a way to do a Pokemon themed event in this country.
So if there are no more questions, maybe we would ask Kirk to just post para sa video photos natin. And then if you still want to interview him, we could arrange a small interview.
Sure. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much
Thank you,
again for
everybody.
being part of this. Thank you, all. Stay